What up, guys? So today we are trying out the newly buffed Stalker, and I do have a good build for it. I am running Sniper, of course, and I'm pretty much planning to nail as many headshots as possible. Also have some extra Terminus damage because we are jumping into Absolute. But yes, I'm trying to nail headshots so I can get my cooldown back faster and then also use targeted shot to buff my damage. Now, I know you saw the Stalker there, and yes, it is an Artificer Stalker that we are taking into Absolute. And see, that's the name of the game right now. Is basically just nail headshots and use camo to buff my damage. And I'm also using persistence as well, so I can help myself from getting too much damage. So basically, my camo is giving me damage reduction and extra damage. And I do have squad renewal. So basically, getting headshot kills is going to reduce my cooldown by quite a bit. And we do have a Vanguard here as well, so I'm also reducing my cooldown for major executions. And yes, we are using the fencing. I believe it's either the fencing or the balanced combat knife. Melee wasn't the big selling point for this build at the moment. Basically, I'm using an underleveled Stalker to see how the damage kind of stacks up to Absolute. Obviously, I used the Stalker before, and I actually used an underleveled Stalker for lethal. And I figured, hey, you know what? Let's take it to Absolute. Let's see. The Stalker is one of the best weapons in the game. So I was definitely not too worried about it being too underleveled. However, here, you know, I'm still playing Sniper. I still have the combat knife. I missed one of those unfortunate parries, and it did a lot of damage. So yes, getting right there, I was definitely having I was definitely struggling to see the attacks there. See right here, I'm just way too stubborn. Basically, once you miss one parry, what you really should do is roll out of it, because then it's really hard to get a rhythm back for those parries. So yes, we are starting this operation pretty sloppy. And yes, there's Inner Fire, Squad Renewal. Cooldown is going to be pretty quick for my entire team. So we do have a bit of a nice cooldown synergy here. Not to mention, we do have a heavy on the team, and the heavy's doing a lot of damage. Now I throw a crack grenade right there. I do believe it would either hit into the shield, or I missed maybe. But that was still pretty. Yeah, there it is. There's the real crack grenade. They're doing the beams. I take my frags back because I was like, hey, you know what? These crack grenades I used, and it seemed to do some damage, but it didn't take them out. Maybe I did miss or something. But regardless, the Stalker rifle is good enough for this situation. I probably could have just done this without the grenades, without throwing any grenades. I probably could have just used the Stalker. So basically, we're getting through the Tyranid part. It started pretty sloppy, but once we started getting through the Tyranid part, I was able to start a rhythm. I do have a stim pack here, so I wasn't too worried. I wasn't too worried about, dying at all, because, basically I'm still using a really strong weapon. I'm still using a really strong build for it. And here's the beginning of the chaos part for the operation. And yes, like I pointed out, we do have a Vanguard and a Heavy on the team, so we have a good amount of damage overall. Now here's some headshots. The name of the game is Headshots for this build. And also, I just want to point out, I really enjoy the Salamander Champion skin. I do think I enjoy the bolt rifle a little bit more, when I'm using the skin, but I felt like it was actually pretty fun to use. Basically, salamanders are known for hunting, so getting these many camos, it wasn't. it felt pretty cool to basically have a hunter's cloak and get through all these camos. It kind of just made it feel really good. But yeah, that was a lot of camos. That was a lot of camos right there, and the Stalker's really good against disc shamans. But yes, I see this gun strike that I'm trying to go for, but unfortunately, I was just a little bit late on that. The Heavy is down to 1 health. I have no stims. Boom, that's a big armor piece right there. And I gotta say, I do enjoy the fact that the Stalker was buffed, but I know the Stalker was already good to begin with. Like, I've already been through lethal with the Artificer Stalker before. But still, Sniper's in such a good spot. I do believe... I'm really just goofing off with the parries in this run. But yeah, I do believe the Stalker is still one of the best weapons in the game. The buffs really helped out all the bolter weapons, I gotta say. I also tried the auto bolt rifle without the grenade launcher, and I'm going to be excited to share that experience as well. But I had to jump in with the Stalker first because I knew the Stalker was already good, and then it already gets a buff, like regardless. It felt really good for the weapon, and the heavy is doing great work to help me take less damage from range attacks. So I'm also stacking up my damage resistance a little bit. Pretty much when I leave camo, I'm taking less range damage, and then I'm also taking less range damage because of the heavy. So this sniper actually had a good amount of things going on for the build. Not to mention, yeah, the Stalker's really fun to use as well. And pretty much any weapon is just fun to use on the sniper at the moment. I did pick up a Guardian Relic as also, if you didn't see that. There's a Melta. Definitely going to be responsible for the Melta. The Guardian Relic really helps me here because I am low, and the heavy is low. Our Vanguard, luckily, isn't too low, which is nice. I honestly dropped the Melta right here because things are getting pretty sweaty. Like, there's a lot of mobs coming after us. And Sniper's biggest weakness is dealing with mobs, especially melee mobs at the moment. So I do use the stim pack to help out my health. Make sure I pick off one of those minorists right there. Get the headshot to finish off the shield and the sword and board chaos enemies. Holy cow, sorry. Sword and board, sword and board chaos. You can definitely deal with them pretty easy, but once they start, mobbing up on you, it can be pretty difficult. And I was also able to use the Stalker's range damage to help clear out the rest of these mobs. And yes, unfortunately, my two teammates have pretty low health here, so this Helbrute fight is going to be pretty difficult. We can't make a lot of mistakes here. I'm trying my best to take out the Disc Shaman before the Helbrute actually shows up. But unfortunately, once I went behind that pillar, it pretty much negated my ability to counter him, to parry the Disc Shaman. And what ended up happening was the Disc Shaman kind of just flew away. But still, the combat knife is definitely good at taking out Majorus. That was unfortunate. That was the Helbrute shooting me in the back. I had no idea that was coming. So I'm basically trying my best to reposition here. We have a lot of enemies coming after us in this fight. This is probably the hardest fight we run into in this run. The chaos part of this mission is no joke. You definitely have to be careful with the Helbrute spawning here, because I think I've seen it spawn here more often than not. Here, I'm getting my ammo back, and as you see there, I definitely had other weapons that could have helped this situation out. But no, this is a Stalker video. I am using the Artificer Stalker until the end. And I also, keep in mind, I also buffed my range damage against Terminus enemies. So I was actually feeling pretty confident that, hey, you know what? I have the ammo refill capability. I can really just pelt down the Helbrute and just continue using camo to basically get it to disengage from me. And as long as I was able to create space, I knew I was in a good spot with this Helbrute fight. Now, unfortunately, I do roll into that room a little bit too far, in which case it does spawn these majors. And unfortunately, I don't think we were ready for two majors to jump into this fight. Maybe we were very focused on the Helbrute. But now I'm just trying my best to basically get these majors into a killable range. We do get one executionable status right there. Even though the Stalker is an Artificer Stalker and is technically under level for this difficulty, it is still performing pretty well as a weapon, at least for the sniper build I have for it. And yeah, you just really want to make sure you land those headshots. Some of those shots hit the shoulder, some of those shots hit the head. And unfortunately, our heavy is down, and I'm getting hard rushed by the Helbrute here. And I have a Vanguard fighting the Sorcerer right over there. I wanted to make sure I had an eye on what was going on there. Oh no, the Vanguard's right next to me, it seems like, but I think the Vanguard was trying to basically get away from the Sorcerer. Either way, we have some bad positioning here. And we're both very low. I have no armor. I don't know if you've seen that, but I have no armor, basically no health. no ammo as well. This is actually a pretty tough situation. Operation number 3, Vox Liberatus, is just no joke. It's no joke. And the Vanguard's doing a good job of getting some damage on the board as well. But they do go down here. And I'm getting this camo from the ability where if I take lethal damage, I get a camo for a little bit. So basically, once I had the camo there, I knew it was from that ability, and I knew if I get hit an extra time, the operation is done. So luckily, I do have a Guardian Relic for that. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to pick up my teammate in any good manner because, you know, basically the camo that I just had was only available for a couple seconds. So if I rolled in there to get my teammate too early, I would have gotten swarmed. So luckily here, though, I do have my health back, so I was like, hey, you know what? I can pick up my teammate. I picked up my teammate. It was very fast. Unfortunately, I do get hit by the Helbrute there, but the Stalker is excellent at getting contested health back. Once we got the Helbrute down, I knew we had this fight. All I had to do was take out the majors, and I was parrying pretty well. Actually, no, I was parrying pretty bad this operation, but once this Helbrute basically showed up on my screen, I was getting locked in. This was definitely a locked-in sniper fight right there. That felt really good. That fight felt really good. It was one of those moments that you're kind of surprised that you were able to make it out of. That said, we still have the Sorcerer here. We still have a few majors. The Heavy is on their way back. So once we get a full team back, I was feeling pretty confident we were able to win this operation. You know, bearing I don't make any mistakes. And the thing is, I was still not very happy about the Guardian Relic, using the Guardian Relic, but, you know, I did use it on a Terminus enemy, so it's kind of worth it. And getting behind a Heavy is the sniper's best place. Getting behind a Heavy and just using any of the weapons is really, really good, because you're basically shooting behind the Heavy shield. And then the Heavy's weapon damage with the sniper's weapon damage, it's insane. Now here, that was a hard mistake. I saw one major, and then all of a sudden there was 4, and they were all slow walking behind that corner. I was out of position, and I played way too aggressive. Now, luckily, I do have some teammates here who were on their way to take out most of the enemies around. The Vanguard does pick me up. Now, unfortunately, I do have a Mortal Wound. I have a Mortal Wound, and there is a whole bunch of enemies here. So I pick up the Shock Grenade. I throw the Shock Grenade there, and I believe I threw both of them. Or were those... Or it might have been a Crack Grenade. Regardless, we get one major over there to executionable status. I do think there was another major one of my teammates were able to take out. I was able to catch this one before he got ready to basically not be executionable. And luckily there was a stim here. I do pick up the stim. I'm still at Mortal Wound, keep in mind. Disc Shamans weren't that big of an issue. The Stalker rifle is really good against Disc Shamans. There I was just a little bit too slow to hit that barrel. And yes, they go for the double swing there, so I do decide to use my stim because I wasn't 100% sure if we were going to finish this fight, just because of the pure fragile nature we were as a team. But the Vanguard's at full health, the Heavy is back, and now I have a pretty fair amount of health as well. However, I still have a Mortal Wound. Now here's a good example of why the Stalker is a good weapon. Just getting that scope and having the ability to hit those headshots from afar, while also being a great weapon for headshots from medium range. Hey, even close range. I was thinking about bringing out the Stalker for the close range sniper melee build. I am itching to get back into using blocking weapons, but for some of these Chaos missions, I just wanted to use some fencing. I was just, you know, I was feeling really good with the fencing weapons against Terminators as well. And speaking of Terminators, we have a couple of Terminators right here. Maybe just one, I'm not 100% sure. Pretty sure there should be another one. But still, oh yeah, there's a Sorcerer right there. But still, I was hitting my parries on Terminators pretty cleanly. Boom, but then they go for the second swing, get that gun strike. Able to take out a Terminator. Big body slam right there, pretty dope to see that. The Stalker, after using the Stalker in this operation, I felt very confident that this weapon at Relic tier is a very, very strong weapon. The fact that I was able to get over 10k damage with an Artificer Stalker on Absolute felt really good, especially clutching that Helbrute run. That Helbrute run, I had to clutch up. And it was a great time for the sniper to show off its capabilities of just avoiding death. Here I do get a fair amount of special kills. I do crack 10k damage. As a team, we were doing a lot of damage, as you saw. Nobody's gonna outdamage the heavy at the moment. I think I always see heavies just kill it now.